Hey folks, we're live. I'm Kurt with Mañana No Mas. It is September 19th, and I've got a couple things to talk about how when your successes or when your hard work gets noticed. Hey folks, Kurt again, Mañana No Mas. Look, here's the deal. It's Thursday morning. I've got to get ready for 4 hours of Zoom time, Zoom, StreamYard. You know what I'm saying, right? Live presentations. Thursdays are my day. I do segments with WP Tonic, segments with Lifter LMS, and then, of course, customer and client calls that may pepper in those internal spaces in between the live shows. This is going to be a unique message in that if you listen to it incorrectly, you're going to hear Kurt say, "Oh, look at all these people looking at me." That's not the core message. So I want to be really, really clear. The core message here is more like talking about leadership, the idea of SMART goals. So, like, what's a SMART goal, right? So you think about it, is it strategic? Is it measurable? Is there a timeline? Is it relevant? Those kinds of things, right? There's guidelines to be a SMART goal. And as I work with different groups in power sports, in marine, in the WordPress space, digital marketing, these things, these topics come up over and over again. And so I wanted to kind of show you what's been going on in the last couple of weeks, because let's be real. I don't believe that you're following me like every day to see what I'm doing or what's going on. That would be really conceited. So on the happenstance that you've never seen me before and you're like, who's this bald guy talking to me or yelling at me through my social media feed? Let me share this screen with you real quick. There's a guy named Matt Medeiros. Matt Medeiros runs a thing called the WP Minute. It has been a goal for me to get on the WP Minute podcast. Now, I didn't nag him. I didn't bug him. I didn't, hey, put me on. But I waited for the right time for him to invite me to the show. And then when I went to the show, I got to tell you, I myself was blown away, because if you're building your empire, if you are stepping out in your role of influence and leadership, and you're doing it, I'm going to say it the way I say it. So bear with me here. But if you're doing this with a good heart, the conceit isn't with you. Okay. A lot of times I'm working with customers, I'm working with clients, I'm coaching them, I'm consulting them. And one of the first things that I do every time I have a new client is I establish a benchmark. I establish a snapshot of where we are right now when we start. That's important, because the human condition is adaptable. We can adapt to all kinds of things. And so what happens is we start making these milestones of improvement, but we don't acknowledge them because they happen slowly to us. And then all of a sudden we wake up one day and we're like, oh my God, look where we're at. Oh, what a happenstance. Not a happenstance. Things happen for a reason. Things have results, right? I always talk about, actions and consequences. It's how I raised my kids. From the time they were tiny, I was like, every action has a consequence. Make sure you think that through. And I wanted to raise my kids with a sense of accountability in that way. And so think about someone that's had a problem with weight gain. They didn't wake up Wednesday and go, oh, I gained half a pound, I better cut back. They didn't wake up Friday and go, oh, it's a pound this week, I better cut back. They didn't wake up a month later and go, oh, I'm up 4.5 pounds, I better cut back. What happens is one day they go to put on an outfit and it doesn't fit, and they step on the scale and they go, oh my God, I gained 25 pounds. How did that happen? I didn't know it, right? Because over time, they didn't recognize the path. And so the truly flattering words that Matt put in here about interviewing me and the podcast with me, I'm going to tell you, I'm a little bit humbled, because he says here, Kurt's journey into WordPress is fascinating. He transitioned from a career in automotive to web development. Turns out Matt has a background in automotive as well. small world, right? Now, me and Matt, we've shared the screen before on different shows, but never a one-on-one conversation. So it was really cool to be able to sit with him, who I think he might take this oddly, but I think he's kind of a genius in the space. So the idea that I get to share screen time, one-on-one conversation, interactive conversation with him, and mind you, I got to tell you, this whole interview was not prepared. There was no pre-staged questions. There was no, hey, this is what we want to focus on. It was just two dudes having a conversation with the camera on, and what you get is what you get. He talks about my perspective of WordPress, which I got to say, when you're pressed in a conversation by someone that you admire and they're asking for your feedback, I was kind of struck at how my thoughts and my assumptions about WordPress came out vocally. And so I was like, you know what? That's good. It's good to know where I stand. It's good to know how I think about this. It's good to know that I still believe putting the client's needs first makes sense. Then we talked about AI, artificial intelligence, and then he did a really good job of just promoting the things that, quite honestly, matter to Kurt and Mañana No Mas. So I want to encourage you, if you haven't had a chance to listen or you didn't know about the WP Minute yet, I would love for you to go and listen to this interview. It is one of those moments where, gosh, I just had a chance to shine. I'm going to say it the way it is. I've been on other people's shows. I've been in other environments. I've been interviewed by Jonathan over at WP Tonic before. I mean, people see me online and they know that Kurt has opinions. They know that Kurt talks about things. But I really think this interview with Matt Medeiros was the opportunity to be interviewed and really put forth some meat in the matter. Now, something else happened this week too. And I'm going to change the look here. I'm going to add the stage. Yep. We're going to put that back on, and we are going to go and share this tab instead. Now, right after the Matt Medeiros interview, Chris Badgett at Lifter LMS, who, let's be clear, I'm friends with, and I work with him at the Lifter LMS team, and I do a lot of stuff there. Okay. But he says, hey, would you join the LMS cast? Well, I thought that was kind of unique because I just did the show with Matt, and I said, yeah, I'll do a show with you, Chris. What do you want to talk about? And he goes, I want to talk about your recent successes in business to business sales. And I went, huh? Because if I think about the content with Matt, it was about the success in the B2B marketplace and my take on WordPress and e-learning and enterprise sales within these spaces. And then Chris wanted to have a conversation about the same thing. And so if you look at the title to my video today, by the way, I'm leaving these up for a decent long time so you can see, like, go to Lifter LMS on YouTube, right? Go to Lifter LMS on YouTube. Look for the business to business learning management systems with Kurt Von Ahnen. Like, and he misspelled my name. That's okay. I still love you, Chris. You can see my name right here. So I really just want to encourage you to go check these two pieces out. When I am on Lifter LMS, when I am on WP Tonic, when I'm on the Membership Machine Show, when I'm on the Roundtable once a month, I am contributing, but it's not an interview with Kurt. And on the Mañana No Mas podcast, when I interview other people, my job on that podcast is to profile and spotlight other people, not me. When I have a guest on my podcast, I truly look at it as an opportunity to put the spotlight on my guest. What is my guest working on? What are their thoughts? What are their goals? What are their dreams? And so that's that. So in the last week, I've had the opportunity to be the guest, to be in the spotlight, and be able to voice my opinions to both Chris with a large audience of LMS Cast and with Matt, which I believe is an even larger audience with the WP Minute. And I really feel like some of the things I got to express, some of the things I got to promote, some of the things I got to put the spotlight on were really good topics, not just for Mañana No Mas, but for other agencies that work in the space and for WordPress in general. You know, there's a lot of infighting sometimes that happens in any organization. And one of the things I wanted to articulate in these two moments was, hey, let's focus back on the customer. Let's meet customer needs. Let's bring the services and the skills that we have as agencies and professionals in the field. And then all this other stuff can kind of fall by the wayside. Let's focus on what's important instead of bringing that up. Now, to the point of the name of this particular live, it says, when hard work gets noticed. Okay, so like I said, if you don't have a baseline or a snapshot of where you start out, it's hard to recognize the growth and the wins along the way because you're growing with it, right? So you're not really seeing it, but here's the deal. Other people are. So when Matt Medeiros reached out and said, oh, you've got this successful agency. And when Chris reached out and said, oh, you got this successful agency. And then you do some research and you say, well, what does the average agency make? And what does the average agency do? And then you look at what you're doing, you go, oh, crap, I guess I do have a successful agency. How did that happen? It wasn't overnight. It was hard work. When the hard work gets noticed, right? So now the hard work's getting noticed. There's some side effects. I get an unbelievable amount of spam now. I get increased views on the manananomas.com website. So if you want to do business with us, that's manananomas.com. And then I'm in the LinkedIn space. Everyone knows, anyone that watches any of these lives with me knows I'm on the LinkedIn space. I'm the only Kurt Von Ahnen on LinkedIn, so I'm easy to find, right? When you find Kurt Von Ahnen on LinkedIn, you do a search. When I pop up, I'm not in there with 20 other George Smiths, right? It's Kurt Von Ahnen, one person, click. Follow and connect. But because of this exposure, because of, and I'm not going to say newfound successes, because it has taken years to get to where we are, where we're at, and where we're headed. It's the next part of this message. It's really important. If you're watching this as a replay, don't get bored and check out. I want you to stay with me for just a little bit longer. People acknowledge it. They go, oh, you're a successful agency. Now we want to talk to you. You're a successful agency. Now we want to ask you for the secret sauce. By the way, on the WP Minute, I gave away some secret sauce. So you could listen to that and go like, oh, that's how Kurt kind of shortcut a little bit of the success train. Okay, so I'm not afraid to share the magic along the way. I don't believe in anyone taking my piece of the pie. I believe we can all just bake more pie. So I'm never worried about sharing or giving out ideas or telling you what my tech stack is or any of that stuff about helping customers and all of us providing better service to clients in the internet space. It's kind of why I'm doing the whole WordPress meetup thing. You don't get paid to do that, but it's, if I can share and be an ambassador for WordPress in the public space, I'm going to do it. So here's the deal. When your hard work gets noticed, when you've reached a plateau of success, what comes next? What's next? Right? And here's where I'm going to tell you, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. This is when SMART goals come back into play. You say to yourself, all right, my hard work's getting noticed. I've reached a certain plateau. I'm getting spam off my website. Obviously, I'm getting web traffic. I've got activities going on. I've got work in the till. Today, oh my goodness, I've got all those lives I got to do today. And I got news for you. Between me and the team at Mañana No Mas, I got a ton of work to do as well. So last night, I was up working until 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night, putting a SCORM package in for people that work out of Oregon. And so I'm not here to tell you, grind yourself to death and be subject to burnout. What I'm saying is, with success comes some growth hurdles. I typically don't work that late. I'm going to be really honest with you. My goal is to reduce my hours as I grow successfully. I know that a lot of people don't understand what I just said. My goal, my personal goal, is to work less hours as I grow financially. So I want to grow the team, okay? But Mañana No Mas is all about staying on budget and monitoring the calendar at the same time. So unfortunately for me, for the past couple of weeks and probably for the next couple of weeks, I'm in kind of a bubble right now where there's a lot of work that's got to get done and I don't have enough team members to distribute it to, or I've got work getting done by team members. And as the project manager, I still have to quality assurance test it, right? So I still have to go through it before I pass it on to the client. So yeah, I was up late working last night. Guess what? I'm going to be up late working again tonight. I know that going in. But that's the next step. The next step is when hard work gets noticed and the spotlight's on you and the work starts coming in, you got to perform. You got to perform. You got to double down, and you got to get to that next plateau where that bubble of doubling down can kind of release a little bit. And in my situation, we're going to basically double the size of the team. We're going to delegate more work out. I'm going to make sure that my automated processes stay in place. And I'm going to make sure, newsflash, when I have tasks or things that are repetitive in the Mañana No Mas space, what I do is I make a screen share video of that process. And then I add it as a lesson in a hidden course behind the Mañana No Mas website. So if I hire a contractor, a freelancer, a graphic designer, an instructional designer, a server engineer, like whatever you want to call these people, there's people that I bring onto the team, and I'll say, hey, at Mañana No Mas, this is our process to add a hosting account. Go look at this lesson. It'll tell you how we do it. And now I need you to do that for our last 3 customers that signed up. Or this is how we turn over a template for a consulting site. Here's the directions. Now go do it for this new customer. Here's how we create, a populated templating site for landscapers, for food trucks, for whatever. And then by having that process in place and evergreen training that I can refer people to, now I did the hard work. That's what I'm talking about. When the hard work gets noticed, I did the hard work, and now that evergreen product is going to do the heavy lifting for me. So now I can hire qualified people. And even though they know how to do things, I'm not saying these people are stupid. I'm saying there's always a unique process in every agency workflow. So if I document that unique process to the agency workflow and I give them an evergreen product to train themselves, I can say that course is 45 minutes. I'm going to pay you the 45 minutes to take that course, and then you can execute on what I've hired you to do without me having to jump on a Zoom call for 2 hours and show you how we do everything. Make sense? So I really wanted to drive home this point, and I got to get going because I got to get ready for the shows. But Thursdays are my day. If you've noticed anything with watching me in my lives and kind of my sequencing and how I don't always listen to what I say, watch what I do. Don't always listen to what I say, watch what I do. So if you pay attention to Kurt Von Ahnen on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, you'll see I time block a lot of things. So I very purposely put a lot of my lives and my interview activities into Thursdays. And I don't typically book client meetings on Thursdays. Very rarely do I pepper those in between things. Sometimes we do because we have to, but very rarely do I do that. Usually I do the WP Tonic show, then I do the Lifter LMS show, then there's a break, and then there's another Lifter LMS show, and then there's a break, and then I do something else. And that's usually every Thursday, right? And so when I set that up in my schedule accordingly, I know that I do a lot of customer meetings on Mondays and Tuesdays. I know that I try to keep Fridays fairly open as a catch-up and quality assurance day. If I have people on my team processing work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I use Friday as a QA session for accountability to make sure that the product is good to pass on to my clients, I either pass that product on a Friday and let my client, play over the weekend and see if they have any change requests, or I can get a feedback loop back to the people in my team and say, these are the quick changes I need, and I'd love to send this change to my client, tomorrow, which would be Saturday morning. And it still gives them kind of that end of the week to kind of close something up. Folks, I hope that when I come on live, especially when I don't schedule it, but I hope that when I come on and do these kinds of talks, I hope you come away with the message for this. The message is keep doing the hard work. Keep doing what seems extraordinary. And even though you hit bumps, keep pushing. Even though you hit a plateau, keep pushing. Even though people don't seem to be paying attention. There's nobody in this live right now, but I know someone's going to watch the replay. Even though no one's paying attention, keep pushing. And then when everything comes together and your hard work gets noticed, don't get sucked in by a recognition of success. You hit that moment of success because you kept pushing. And there's always a next plateau of success. There's always a next level to get to. And so by formulating a smart goal and approaching it properly, you'll have the ability to keep that hard push going. Now, sometimes the intensity of the push is going to fluctuate. Like I just said, my goal as I get older and as we get more successful is to come up with strategies that reduce my work hours per week. That doesn't mean I'm okay to go backwards financially and let my business crumble. What that means is I need to get smarter and more creative on how I leverage my teammates to be able to increase our workflow and reduce my time in the saddle. And it's all possible. It is all possible. The more you earn, the more freedom you have to be able to take a look at things, break things down, figure out root cause and effects, and make changes, and then monitor those changes. I know that if you're not in business yet, if you haven't gotten through these stages, you're looking at this video and you might be thinking, it sounds good, but it never works. Or he's talking word salads and I don't understand what he's talking about. If you just get in, get your hands dirty, boots on the ground, and you just do the work and you work hard and you push. And even though no one notices, you push. And then you get to a certain level where people start to notice. Don't rest on your laurels. Push again. Get to that next level, get to that next level. And pretty soon, whatever your industry is, you'll have people reaching out to you saying, hey, can we get an hour with you on the show and talk about your recent successes? And when that happens, don't rest on your laurels. There's a next level to push to. You might not have to push to the point of exhaustion, but you just want to give a little nudge. All right, folks, I got to go. I got to get ready for the next show. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful day. And I don't think there's been a live that I've made in the last month where I haven't said, I'm really thankful. I'm really grateful. The positive comments, the direct messages in LinkedIn, the connection requests. I appreciate all of it. I like connecting with you, with as many of you as possible. Feel free to reach out through the Mañana No Mas website. Like, share, follow, all those things that help people grow a channel. When you look at my YouTube channel and you see hundreds and hundreds of videos and like 86 subscribers or 84 subscribers, you know that some of that math doesn't add up. And so I would love it if you would subscribe and maybe share a couple of videos with people that you think might find value in it. Have yourself a wonderful day, and I will talk to you guys very, very soon. Hold on, I got a thing that I put on. It says, thanks for watching.